Hey there, everyone. I thank all of you for tuning into this video to talk about the unfortunate case of a wrestler named Hajime Ohara. To those of you uninitiated about who exactly Hajime Ohara is at this point, I will get into that in a bit. But first, I would like to just say that this video isn't researched by myself exclusively. It has been done so primarily by Japanese sources, as well as Dragon Screw blogs Jom and the touring Aussie English wrestler rionne Fujiwara. Please check them out in the link description with Jom and his Dragon Screw blog and rionne Fujiwara's blog. Now, to those of you who don't know exactly who Hajime Ohara is, let me provide like a short little explanation of sorts. Hajime Ohara has been a professional wrestler for 20 years at this point and was born in Kawasaki, Japan. He was trained predominantly by Skida and Ultimate Dragon, who trained him in the Toriyama Mexico dojo and is now primarily associated with Dragon Gate. In Ohara's career, he's been wrestling predominantly in Toryumon, CMLL, Dragon Gate, as I previously mentioned, Zero One, Smash, and Wrestling New Classic, the latter of which is important to the story. Right now, Hajime Ohara currently works as the top junior veteran and one of the biggest public promoters of the Pro Wrestling Noah brand, which is considered to be a part of the second largest overall collective of wrestling promotions in Japan with Cyber Agent. Ohara has been consistently their top veteran junior and has been employed to Pro Wrestling Noah for 11 years. And notably, he has been good friends and tag team partners with Keno. And earlier this year, actually, Keno was the one who made a big public statement on his YouTube channel about another scandal that occurred in Pro Wrestling Noah that is different to this one, when Pro Wrestling Noah wrestlers Kinya Okada and Yasutaka Yano were arrested for what was deemed forceful indecency on a Noah show in Sendai in April last year. Now, where does all of this tie into a innocent Hajime Ohara? Well, this is where Jom and Fujiwara come in. On February 21st, 2023, Jom came out with a tweet that stated, recently learned that Ohara is not only a serial woman abuser, but was also part of a woman abusing cult. Was not expecting to learn this information at any point. Now, this was shocking to a lot of people, but there had to be some merit. It was all linked to a blog post by Fujiwara, who was talking about his time in Wrestling New Classic. Fujiwara stated in a blog post in the style of a memoir that Ohara was the leader of a group of snobby, delinquent wrestlers and was released. Now, let's talk about the WNC for a little bit moment. So, at one of these shows that were brought by the WNC in Shinjuku Face, Ohara was actually physically insulting his significant other, his girlfriend, who is a fellow professional wrestler named Nagisa Nozaki. Now, on January 25th, 2013, at this very show, Nozaki was in a six-person tag with her and Ohara, as well as Jiro Kuroshio, a pre-Ikemen Jiro Kuroshio, in which they were taking on the team of Zeus, who is now the president of Osaka Pro, Yohei, who we all know was part of a huge scandal in Dragon Gate, where he and several wrestlers were abusing a gym pet monkey named Korra, and the now deceased professional wrestler Ray from Hong Kong, who went by Lynn Byron. Now, after this very match, Ohara proceeded to actually physically assault Nozaki backstage in what he dubbed as a bad performance before, he had to be separated and was later sent home. Ohara wrestled one more match for WNC, where he and Kuroshio lost to the aforementioned team that I mentioned, except Yohei was replaced by the WNC owner, Tajiri, who fired Ohara. However, it took 4 years for Nozaki to get back into the professional wrestling ring, where she competed at a 10-year anniversary show for the promotion Wave at the Oda City General Gymnasium. Now, Ohara was let go, as I stated before, but the reason was never revealed. It had been so secretive that if it had been let out during this time, which was January 2013, then a lot of people would have snubbed Ohara away from the industry altogether. However, 4 months or so after this match, he actually went under a mask in Pro Wrestling Noah to replace the now semi-retired at this point Suwa as Maibach Suwa Jr. to team with Gemba Hiroyanagi to take on Naomichi Marufuji and Yoshinari Ogawa. And later that year, he ditched the mask and has since wrestled as a signed wrestler for all of these 11 years. Now, here's the part that some people are more conflicted about is him being a part of the cult known as Roma Sophie. Now, if this rings a bell, it's because of the fact that this cult has been involved in several big time controversies, particularly one that was notable in the Yu-Gi-Oh sphere, where a member of the cult was actually the original voice actor for a character named Carly Nagisa named Lei Mi-Chiang. It was based off of the teachings and works of a polymath and occultist named Rudolf Steiner, who was responsible for bringing the movement of anthroposophy. And Roma Sophie believes that women should wear miniskirts in public because it decreases the risks of earthquakes and has spiritual powers. Now, the people that were actually responsible for the birth of the Roma Sophie cult, which were a husband and wife duo, they were actually arrested in September of 2010 for their involvement in abusing several female members of the cult with wooden planks for upwards of 4 consecutive hours. Now, where Ohara fits into this within the confines of the Roma Sophie cult has to do with a high ranking member of the cult at the time, whose name is Nico Lufer. Now, Lufer proceeded to have this board post about him specifically talking about professional wrestlers that he enjoyed. And one of them was the late, great Paro Aguayo Sr. Now, Nico and another member of the group, which we don't know his name, started to discuss about Ohara, who they were talking about him within the name Ray Ohara, because that's the name that they, well, basically heard of him from in Mexico. And it was almost like they were talking about him to the point where it was almost as though that they were obsessed with Ohara. Now, to find these specific links, you can go over to the link in the description. And thank you to John for providing to these. Now, about this, to the crux of this rotten biscuit, it's important to state specifically that this has been an allegation that has been surfacing around the internet for the past 2.5 years, when John and rionne first talked about it in February of 2022. There has been nothing said on the part of Pro Wrestling Noah or any member of the modern Roma Sofa cult or the former WMC organization that is of any confirmation or denial about any of these allegations. It has been brought to them before, and they choose to ignore it. Hell, the English Pro Wrestling Noah account got into bad waters thanks to the controversy unfolding again when Michael Elgin was under several watchful eyes for his misogynistic, abusive behavior and his shenanigans in Japan. And the biggest blow done to anyone so far has been of Welsh commentator Mark Pickering, who has basically tried to scrap the entirety of the allegations against Ohara under the rug and ignore them as a whole to defend Pro Wrestling Noah's honor vigilantly. Now, some people will say, what's the purpose of this? Well, the purpose of this particular video is to give Noah, Cyber Agent, Tajiri, and many more a chance to speak up on the abuses Hajime Ohara has committed, most notably to Nagisa Nozaki. They cannot simply go away from this at all. And if this continues to be an issue that has been ignored again and again, it will be worse and worse for everyone involved. For Hajime Ohara himself, now he has more of a big chance for him to apologize for the hurt that he has caused, not just to an innocent person like Nagisa Nozaki, whose only crime was doing a match wrong, but to his fans and colleagues and peers who he has respected all the same. To my English and Japanese friends who are watching this video, or anyone who is watching this video, please, please spread this video so that everyone can know of the damage that Ohara has done. Now, I would most likely recommend everyone use Twitter or X, as it's the best way to engage with Noah and Pro Wrestling Noah fans from across the world. Please also use Pro Wrestling Noah's inquiry form to speak to Pro Wrestling Noah itself and its staff and to let them know of the ignorance of the controversy surrounding Hajime Ohara. And remember to always speak up to all forms of abuse, regardless of gender, age, or creed. Thank you for watching, everyone, and please, please take care.